Thank you, Shauna, and thank you all of you for being here tonight. It means so much to each and every one of us that has been a part of this organization and is an organization for all of you to be here to celebrate our 50th anniversary. 50 years ago, we were facing overwhelming darkness in our country. Dr. King and Bobby Kennedy were killed, and as we were reminded in the video, our world, our country was battling its ugliest demons. But out of that awful time also came progressive ideas and powerful social justice institutions. I've had the honor of working for two organizations that were born out of that darkness. The first is what was then called the Robert F. Kennedy Memorial, founded by his friends and family to carry on Bobby Kennedy's unfinished work. And now I have the incredible privilege of serving as the executive director of the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights of the San Francisco Bay Area. For 50 years, the Lawyers Committee has been building a Bay Area and a California where everyone is treated equally, and we are not done yet. Today, for example, we are working in Oakland, where the Housing Authority has its own police department with a record of harassment. They regularly stop African American men, question them about their activities, demand identification, and break up group gatherings. One of the men we're working with has been stopped 40 times. Not once have they had the evidence to cite him. I hope that by next year's MLK Award celebration, I'll be reporting to you that we will be shutting down the Housing Authority's police department, as so many jurisdictions across this country have done. How we work is also important. We walk with our clients and the communities we serve. They drive our work. Across this country, the loved ones of people who have been accused of crimes, and especially women of color, are footing the bill for the failures of the money bail system. In California, 71% of people in jail have not been convicted of any crime. Most of them are there only because they cannot afford to post bail to get out. The bail bonds industry has long profited off of this discriminatory system. This year, we will start the first ever bail clinic in California. We will use consumer legal rights, yes. We will use consumer legal rights, legal remedies to fight unfair bail contracts, and we are advocating for bail reform with impact litigation and by supporting grassroots organizations fighting for legislative reform. People often ask me why I do this work and why I'm here right now. I sometimes answer and share stories of the racism I faced as one of the few brown kids growing up in my hometown in the East Bay. Or I might share my own Me Too story. Or tell them about my parents who are here tonight and their journey from India to the United States to build a better future for me and my brothers and my brother and sister. But the real reason that I am here tonight is for my children. I do not just want to fight injustice. I want to fight for something, for a world in which my two sons and my daughter Ambika, who's 9, who is here tonight, I want to fight for the world in which they get to live out their dreams. That is the world that Dr. King talked about. That world is not just about fighting discrimination, but about building a true world where everyone is equal. In Dr. King's words, it is much easier to integrate a lunch counter than it is to guarantee a livable income and a good, solid job. It is much easier to guarantee a right to vote than it is to guarantee a right to live in sanitary, decent housing conditions. It is much easier to integrate a public park than it is to make genuine, quality, integrated education a reality. And so today we are struggling for something which says we demand genuine equality. And this work is hard. We are facing violent policies targeting immigrants and people of color and so many other groups across this country that will strip away so much of the progress that we have made. And at the Lawyers Committee, with the help of so many of you here in this room and so many of your colleagues, we will walk with our clients and we will bring our legal tools into those battles. But we will also build. There are days when it seems like we are being crushed, that there is too much to do, and that we cannot change these policies, let alone build a more just world. As I was preparing for tonight, I thought about other times where I have felt beaten down by the big picture. I recall a trip I took to Haiti a decade ago. I was there to speak to a convening of community members. I had spent 5 years working to restore water and health loans to Haiti that the Inter-American Development Bank had withheld at the US government's direction. We had tried different creative legal and advocacy strategies, and nothing was moving. And I was angry because I was looking around at senseless poverty, and I was going to report back to this community gathering that we were not succeeding. Dr. Paul Farmer, one of the founders of Zanmi La Santé, the group we worked with in Haiti, saw my state and decided I needed to go see a hospital that they were building. We toured the hospital, and quite frankly, it didn't do anything for me, didn't help. Finally, after we finished, he told me, I want you to be a part of this hospital. I want you to plant a tree. So Paul handed me this enormous tool. I swear to God, it was this, like, half my size. It was a pick. It didn't look anything like the shovels on TV. It was too heavy to lift, and I didn't know what to do, but I started digging. And like our legal case, I was making very little progress. And then it started to rain. And within minutes, it was pouring. So I turned to Paul thinking I was off the hook and handed him back my shovel. And he looked at me and he said, we're going to stay here until you plant that tree. So we stayed out there together. And by this point, there were about 10 people gathered to watch my spectacle. But we stayed out there completely soaked to the bone for what felt like hours until I planted my tree. And as soon as I finished, I felt a profound shift in myself and what I was a part of. I looked up and I realized what was being built. Not only a state-of-the-art hospital in rural Haiti, but a center of healing. They had taken such care in every detail, down to the trees and garden outside of the waiting room, so that in the most difficult moments of their lives, when they were dying or sick, patients would be treated with dignity and surrounded by beauty. And I got to be a part of that. And I realized that I was also planting a tree in my work to free the water loans. Even though I wasn't winning, what mattered was that I was standing up for what was just. And by doing that, I was part of something bigger. And by the way, in case you're wondering, 3 years later, we did get some of those loans released. In this awful moment in our country, we are building. Our center of healing is not a hospital. It is the movement of people like all of you here today who are coming together to be a part of something bigger than ourselves, to create a world of genuine equality. And each of us can plant a tree, big and small, every single day, even in the pouring rain. Every time you stand up in court and work to end inhumane conditions in immigration detention centers, or you help to change discriminatory suspension policies in schools that disproportionately affect students of color, or you help a new entrepreneur start her business, you are planting equity. And some of what we will plant will be in our own hearts. When you allow yourself to break down after hearing your asylum client's story of torture, you plant solidarity because you have felt her pain. When you look at your own bias, because every one of us has it, and you look at the areas where you want to grow, you are planting transformation. And in these small acts, we will build that world that we have dreamed of. There will not be one powerful moment where the walls of racism come crashing down. When true equality emerges, it will be because we took the time and the care to plant trees each day in big and small ways to build a movement of people committed to a more just and equal world. And that world will be filled with beauty and dignity for all. Thank you all for being a part of that movement.